Hi. As I'm sure everyone's aware of now, Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, has died at 41, committed suicide by hanging, not long after his good friend Chris Cornell. Um, this has raised a lot of questions and a lot of speculation in the media, um, with a lot of people claiming that suicide is a selfish act. And I kind of wanted to make a video on suicide, my experiences, and what I think of suicide, and is it selfish? First of all, I wanted to say that pain, emotional suffering, and legitimate mental suffering is all relative. What's very painful for me might not be very painful for somebody else who experiences the same thing as I'm going through. Everyone's got kind of a different threshold. A lot of it comes down to genetics, how they were raised when they were very small, how well they can cope with stress, how quickly something builds up in someone's mind. A lot of these factors come into how much pain and mental, emotional suffering and scarring that you can take. Chester has opened up in interviews before about his depression, his struggles with abuse as a child, his struggle with alcohol and drugs as well. There have been a number of other celebrities in the media. I think certain members of the band Cornell who have come out and publicly stated just one day after Chester died that suicide is a very selfish act. I don't think that suicide is selfish. I think that on a certain level, you have to be very brave to choose to end your own life. There's a certain level of bravery there to end your own life. And his individual suffering might have been too great to take. 41 years of the same depression and the same mental kind of anguish. This guy, I'm sure, didn't have an easy life. I think it's unfair of other people because no one can know what Chester is going through, or thinking about, or feeling on a daily basis. Only Chester knows. And now he's gone. I can't imagine what he was thinking about minutes before he died. He made an individual choice to end his life. As I said, I think there is something inherently brave about choosing to take your own life. The most painful times I've ever gone through have been 3 different situations. One was my father's death and the aftermath of that. 2 was a particularly bad breakup, a really bad breakup. And 3 was a couple of years ago experiencing consistent loneliness and consistent feelings of complete isolation. There are 3 instances in my life where suicide wasn't necessarily an option, but I still thought about it a lot. Yet I was always too scared to never go through with it. It's not as if I felt at the time that no one would miss me or that no one would want me back, but I was still very, very scared of actually taking that massive step, because it is a massive, massive step to end your own life. Obviously, I don't encourage anyone to actually end their own lives. The choice is there. If you want to do it, no one can stop you. No one can stop you if you want to do it. I don't blame Chester for how he felt. I would never have guessed, because a suicide, in a certain sense, hits us harder than a death. Like, let's say, Lemmy Kilmister, Motorhead. His death didn't, even though I fucking love Motorhead, and I arguably love Motorhead more than Linkin Park, Lemmy's death didn't hit me as hard as Chester's death. Lemmy was nearly 30 years older than Chester. He had lived a life of drinking, smoking, drug abuse, fucking everything that moved. It wasn't this massive shock that he died of natural causes. Yet Chester, who chose to take his own life, was a shock. Like Robin Williams and like Chris Cornell. 3 really big names who have taken their own lives. Their pain is relative. The pain that they went through, the emotional torture, the psychological enigma can't be understood by anyone else but them. And they're gone. We can't ask them. We can only speculate now. It's not fair for us to speculate and come to a conclusion that we don't know about and stick with it and roll with it. Only Chester knows what Chester was going through. I've never taken my own life. I'd be too afraid. But yeah, Chester's death hit me hard. Hybrid Theory, even if you're not into rock or metal, I guarantee you have listened to some songs off Hybrid Theory. When Hybrid Theory first came out, I was about 10, 11 years of age. And I fucking loved it. And everyone that I knew at school loved it too. I must have listened to Papercut, Points of Authority, In the End, thousands of times. And I grew up with a lot of Linkin Park. And I never thought that... sometimes you think that these celebrities are like godlike and they can't go anywhere. And because their music is so powerful, you in turn think that they are that powerful and they are that strong and they are that sturdy. But there came a time for Robin Williams, there came a time for Chris Cornell, and there came a time for Chester Bennington where they said enough is enough. Enough is enough. And so they took their own lives. I don't want to speculate on that. That is their business, and that is their family's business, their friends' business. It's not selfish. Pain is very relative, and pain is a very personal, really deep down, it's a very personal experience. Not everyone goes through the same thing as everyone else. Not everyone can cope with the same things that you can. Chester, as far as I know, suffered a lot of childhood abuse. That can set you up really, really badly for adulthood. How you handle stress in your life is very much down to your first 3-4 years living on this earth. That's a good indication of how you will handle stress and pressure for the rest of your life. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. Rest in peace, Chester.